our next speaker, Carolina Garcia, a leading expert in the world of visual effects and filmmaking. Originally from Spain, Carolina has worked with some of the biggest names in the film industry, including Ridley Scott, George Miller, Peter Jackson, and Tim Burton. Carolina is a specialist in the layout department, helping to design the look and feel of the movies we all enjoy. There are more than 40 major titles in her impressive filmography. The most stand out are The Hobbit trilogy, Superman, Man of Steel, Games of Thrones, Joker, and many more. She has played a key role in creating some of the most amazing visuals in those films. What makes her story so special is how she started her career here in Spain and through her hard work and passion become one of the top professionals in Hollywood. Her journey is a great example of how dedication and love for what you do can lead to incredible success. Please join me in welcoming Carolina Garcia.
How do you top that? What happened here a minute ago? Okay, thank you very much for having me here and for coming to listen to what I have to say. I'm not sure if it's interesting enough, but I'm going to try. Carolina Jimenez, I'm from Madrid originally, and I live now in the Canary Islands. We'll get there in a minute. I said, why? And yeah, I've been following my dream job for a long time, and that's the journey I wanted to share with you. I want to start saying that following a dream is not as pretty as they paint it. It's tough, it's painful, and it's probably not all that big of a deal. I usually say that it's fine if the chase is making you happy, go for it, but being happy is more important. And I learned that the hard way. But yeah, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I needed to choose a career, and all I knew was that I wanted a profession that could combine technical and artistical tasks, both things. I couldn't pick one, so I decided to study architecture. More by default than from my heart, because that's the best idea I could have. And that's not a good way to choose a career. So it's a very interesting career, but I didn't really like the profession because it's not something I chose. But I came in contact with the 3D softwares, the first 3D softwares that we were using to build the projects for school. And I remember loving it, loving the 3D and the animation softwares, because they give you the opportunity to build stuff that doesn't exist and that won't fall down, so you don't have to calculate all those things that you need to calculate in real life. So I used just enough time for the works for class, and then I would go and build my spaceships and my aliens and my vehicles and everything that was fun. But I didn't know that could be a career. Until I was in a crossroad, I didn't know what to do with my life, I was not loving what I was doing, and then The Lord of the Rings, the first movie of The Lord of the Rings came out. I loved it because I've loved movies all my life. I watched it in the theater like 10 times, I don't know. And when the DVDs, if you guys are nerds like me, when the extended edition came out in the DVDs, I saved for months so I could buy it. And I discovered that the documentaries about how they made the movie were even longer than the movie, and the movie was already 9 hours long or something like that. So I was fascinated, because it's easier today to see how, oh, I'm breaking things already. I was fascinated because it's easier today to see documentaries on how they make movies, but it was not that easy back then. There were not all that many. So I was fascinated. And especially at the end of those documentaries, when I saw that they were doing the digital part of the post-production, I saw they were using a very similar software than the one I discovered thanks to architecture. So that's when I put two and two together, and I realized that you can make movies using a computer. And I thought, that's my thing. That's my thing. So I've never been in architecture for real, and I quit. And I found an animation school in Madrid. There were only two. You have way many more right now. And I did my studies. I was the first in my class because I loved it, because that's the only secret to be good at something, is do something you love. And it was a journey. I broke it? Nope. That was me at school. Look at those monitors. Look at my phone. Right? It was amazing for me. It was a great experience. We were around 30 people in my grade. There were only two girls, my friend and me. There were only the two girls at class. And 10 years after my school, we'll see now what happened in those 10 years, but my school invited me to do a little talk to the students at my same classroom, and they were half and half, boys and girls. So that was like, yes. Took 10 years, but it happened. That's the story I was telling about. So this is what I was not supposed to do, but I couldn't help it. It's really fun. And after school, I needed to find a job. I wanted to go and work at Weta, New Zealand, with the people that inspired me and did The Lord of the Rings. It was not easy to just get out of school, send my resume, and get a phone call. It was not that easy. So for a few years, I had to work on anything and everything that could have 3D. I studied architecture, so it was sort of easier to find gigs more than jobs, unpaid ones more than anything, in the architecture field. So I used that to my advantage, but I had to work on anything. I worked for a dentist. I worked making logos. That weird thing that you see on the right corner, that's a commercial for yogurts in Portugal. Illustrations for anatomy book, anything that could give me some experience and opportunity to update my reel and update my resume, and then send it to everyone in the world. And when I say everyone, it's everyone. I was spamming the world. I wrote to also, of course, Weta and DreamWorks and Pixar and yeah. And I did a lot of 3D, and that's the kind of 3D that we did back then. And then by spamming the whole world, I finally got a little gig that was more in the right direction that I wanted to go. I got the opportunity to work on Águila Roja, the TV series for Televisión Española, and that was big difference because it was TV. It was not movies, but at least it was TV. So I updated my reel, updated my resume, and I spammed the whole world. So the opportunity came. This is how the buildings that I did for Águila Roja, because all the environment are 3D. And I got the opportunity to work on Planet 51. That was my first movie. It was a animation movie that was being done in Madrid, and it was in a proper animation studio. It was a lot of people, and we worked in English already. My English was not great. It was confusing. I didn't know what I was doing, but I learned a lot, and it was a great experience. This was 3 years after I got out of school. My second movie came 3 years after. By this, I mean patience. Patience. If you do the hard work long enough, you get results. It's inevitable, but you need to be patient. It will happen. So 6 years after I quit architecture, I got my second movie, and this time I could go abroad. I got a call. One of those million emails I sent, they replied back. They needed people to work on Happy Feet 2. So I went to Sydney, Australia, and it was a great opportunity and a great experience. George Miller is one of my personal heroes in the film industry, and he's right there somewhere in the center. That's him. And I am a pixel around there. After that, it was a bit easier. Once you get more experience, it's easier to get the next opportunity. So things took me to London, where I worked in a couple of movies that I loved hate. If you guys are fans of the Alien franchise, you know what I mean. And oddly enough, I spammed the whole world again. I wrote Weta again for like the 100th time. And for the first time ever, they replied. I cried the whole night, but they made me an offer because they were working on the Hobbit trilogy. I couldn't believe it. I know. And obviously I said yes, so I moved to New Zealand, and I had the opportunity to live in the Middle Earth, because it's literally the Middle Earth. Everything is built there. And yeah, it was a dream come true. I could close the circle. And yeah, I know, right? I still can't believe it. But I learned the hard way that when you make a dream come true, you break it. I lived in New Zealand for 3 years, 1 year for Hobbit movie. And I learned that once you make your dream come true, when you're at the top, you can only go down, really. So I had a lot of energy, because I had been chasing my dream for so long with so much energy that at that point I didn't know what to do with my life. Literally, I had too much energy and time, and I broke inside. So it's important to. It's one of the messages that I try to give to my students. Sure, follow your dream, do the best you can, work hard, do your best, but keep in mind that it shouldn't be an end to anything, because then what's next? If you don't have the next plan, it will break you. So I had to reinvent myself in a way. I had to find new goals, new energy to try and do things that I loved, new things to love and chase. So now that we are all, the mental health issues are now a normal conversation that it should be. It's one of the things that why not? We should talk about these things too. I don't think we need the volume, but that's that I started with, or the job that I'm doing, to illustrate a little bit what my work entails. So yeah, that's what we do. Many things are digital when we think they're not. It's a curse that we have, because when our job is well done, you won't see it. You only see it when it's not well done. So there's a lot of digital stuff in The Hobbit, obviously, way more than in The Lord of the Rings. I know, but this was my job. I'm part of the layout department, which means that we do all the camera work. We place the camera, we move the camera, we do all the set dressing, we design the environments. All those things are placed almost one by one, all the shields and all the. It was a lot of work. It was crazy hours, but I was enjoying it very much. We did all the spider webs. There are hundreds, believe me. There were 2 guys and me doing all the spider work for this sequence. All lots of fun. There's dragons. That's one of the things I love the most about my job. Is one project is a dragon, and the next project is a spaceship. You get to work on anything. The Planet of the Apes. If you didn't guess it, they're digital. From apes, you go to zombies, because why not? This was interesting as well. Yeah, it's an interesting journey, being able to work on movies and do this kind of thing. Yeah, I pushed all those zombies down that wall. Not all, maybe 3 or 4. Because it's also important to explain that it's a team job. There's a lot of people, and by a lot of people, it's hundreds of people working on these movies. I'm not anything special at all. The only thing that makes me special, I'm stubborn, and I like to speak about this stuff. So when people want to listen to what I have to say, I'm there. But it's literally thousands of people. If you wait until the end of a movie and you see the credits, all those names are very talented people that are giving their best and working really long hours to bring that movie to you. Even when the results are not perfect, there's always a team that did the best they could with what they had. And conditions usually are not ideal. So when results are not perfect, it's because conditions were not perfect. Usually we don't have time, or there's not a lot of money, or, well, money can buy time, it can buy better machines and stuff like that. So my respects, even when the result is not great. A lot of people think that it's easy because we use a computer. Like you press Control D for dragon and you get a dragon. It's not. There's a lot of effort and it's a lot of work and a lot of talent under every movie, and I want my colleagues' job to be appreciated, and there's no way you can appreciate something you don't know. That's why I like explaining how we do what we do and why, so everybody can appreciate the work we do. And that's why I started doing this. This things I do. My brother, my younger brother, had a YouTube channel about video games, and I was like, I'll try that too. Let's see if I can make a video. It worked, and that video turned into 2 and 3 and 4, and then a talk, and then my school invited me to give that talk. I loved it, and I still get very nervous. It doesn't get easier. You just hide it better. But it's totally worth it. So that's why I'm here. I'm really thankful for being part of this, because I guess my main message is, because it's something also that drove me when I was starting. If someone else can do it, you can do it. No question. That's it. And if no one else did it before, why not be the first one? Basically, it doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees an adventure. That's for sure. And also, I understand that I'm not here, I didn't get here by myself. There was a lot of people who helped me, who believed in me without even knowing me, that answered all my questions when I had them. And believe me, you have many questions when you're starting. And part of me feels that I need to give back to the universe. I cannot give back to those people that answer my questions, but I can try and give back to whoever's coming after me. So I also tell my students always to ask questions to whoever comes before you and try to help whoever comes after you. Because that's the way to move forward all together, and we will get further that way. So just to finish the story, I do these things, like you can see, as much as I can. And that picture on the right top, it's a school in Guatemala. They're using my videos for students, which makes me really happy. And before I say goodbye, I'm not going to say goodbye yet. After that, after New Zealand, it's not easy to be an immigrant. I've been an immigrant, and it's not easy. After that, the natural journey took me to Canada. I lived in Canada for 8 years because there's a lot of work for me, for my industry in Canada, because of the tax exemption for the industry by the Canadian government. So I lived there it was a very good ride. I'm Canadian now as well, so I have dual citizenship. That was not easy, but it was totally worth it. And the pandemic came. And that was also tough. We all went home to work, obviously remotely, And it was after the first 2 winters in Canada, working at home, working out at home, and having family far away because they live in Madrid, when I had to face the third winter, Canadian winter, I said no. This is enough. I'm going to go crazy. So I asked permission to work remotely from somewhere warmer, closer to family. The Canary Islands. Bling! So my plan was to go to the Canary Islands just to spend the winter, just to skip Canadian winter. When I got there, I went to Las Palmas because I didn't know, so I was in the map like here, they have a huge beach, let's try this. I realized that was the place, that was the next step, that was the next chapter. It was time to close the Canadian chapter and reinvent myself professionally again, because it's not easy to find the kind of job that I was doing in Canada, in the Canary Islands. So I decided to stay. And I've been living in the Canary Islands for 2 years, and it's been a very interesting ride. And I'm working way more in teaching. I'm working with the film school there, because they don't teach what I do, because they don't have anybody to create those programs. So I'm working with them to create programs, and I'm starting to supervise smaller projects there, because a lot of movies are being filmed there now. And yeah, that's why I'm tanned. It's a and being so close to family and so close to the mainland, I can come to do these things from time to time, and I really enjoy it. I'm really enjoying this new chapter, and I'm trying to make the best of it, trying to evolve, and talking to people like you. And you have any questions, I'm here for you.
Questions?
Hi. Thank you very much for your talk. It's very inspiring, especially about movies, which I think everybody watched, and it was so cool to watch how it was going. My name is Kate, and I'm also user interface designer. And the question which I have is regarding the AI. How do you feel about it? Because as a person who's also in touch with graphic design and with 3D, like before it was super hard and you need to spend so many hours to make some project, and now you just write a prompt and you get some result. How do you feel about it?
It's been a game changer, obviously. We were all expecting this. I was just not expecting this now. My first reaction was, already? I'm very optimistic in terms of it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So for my nerds, resistance is futile. So let's embrace it, let's understand it, and let's try to make the best of it, because it's going to change things. That doesn't mean it's bad, but it's going to change things. My argument usually is that in the history of humanity, but in the history of filmmaking, you make movies using technology from the very beginning. The cinematographer was a technological device, and there was a lot of resistance when color came, when sound came, when the computer started to help making movies. I like to tell the story that Tron, for example, the original Tron from the 80s, was a movie that was mostly made in a computer for the first time. And it didn't win an Oscar, but it was not even, what's the word I'm looking for? Nominated. It was not even nominated because they considered it was cheating to use a computer. That's something that is not true today, obviously. But now, using AI is considered cheating. That will change too. So it's a tool. It's a tool that we need to learn how to use, because it's going to help us do certain things that are really tedious. There are tasks that we do that are really tedious, and that's going to help. So we can do more creative stuff that are also going to change. How? I don't know. Maybe we can talk next year about how things are evolving. But yeah, it's here to stay. You can't stop a tsunami with your hands. So let's enjoy it. Let's learn about it, and let's try to make the best of it. Technology, right?
Thank you so much. It was indeed very inspiring story. I was almost crying.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes,
sorry.
and because I'm also a big fan of the movies, I was also a big fan of the Lord of the Rings, and that was the first book I read, which was like that, the big one, all 3 parts, and only then I watched the movie. And yeah, so basically I was following the movies before from the watching movies from the entertainment perspective. Now I'm watching movie like because I'm working in IT, and I'm looking in the different aspects, to the design, to the graphics, to how it was cut and put together. And now also very interesting for me, it's credits. And I'm actually, before that I was skipping them. Now I'm watching for credits because I'm really curious to see what roles are there. And since I'm working in IT, I assume that also there are plenty of possibilities there. So the question is, so what, I mean, it's just a dream at the moment. And as you said that you should follow your dream. So from where you would recommend to start? And I mean, we have a lot of roles there, and yeah, probably companies. Maybe you can suggest from where to start, especially considering Spain or Malaga specifically. Maybe there are some companies who are doing filmmaking studios. I don't know how they call it correctly, but please.
Sure.
Thank you.
If you're referring to visual effects studios and animation studios, there are a lot of animation here in Spain, and I'm also learning myself because I came back after many years abroad. I came back to Spain, and I'm learning about schools because things have changed quite a bit since I left. And yeah, there's work now, and the possibility of being able to work remotely allows you to work almost with anyone in the world. So there are many more studios than before, and there are plenty of different size studios. I mean, back then only the big studios could afford the kind of computers that you needed to use for stuff like this. Not anymore. Now we can find smaller studios, medium-sized studios, and super large studios, and they offer different opportunities, and they're all welcome because it's work, and it's working. So if I had to give you an advice from my experience, would be like, spam everyone. Obviously, they won't hire you if they didn't know you exist, and sending just one resume and just sit and wait won't work. You have to be, like we say, pico pala, pico pala, pico pala. That's always what I say to my students. And be persistent and be patient, and it will happen. And in this industry, in the movie industry in general, we need everyone. We have carpenters, we have computer scientists, we have artists, we have composers, everyone is needed. In production is only the people that organize everything we have to do, which is a lot. And I couldn't do that myself. So everyone could work in the movie industry right now. And so if that's what you love, go for it.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Thank you so much. I am also a huge fan of Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
So I'm sure there's many in the room. Thank you for sharing how you felt when you reached your dream. And I think it's a bravery, right, to be very open about it. So thanks. And I wanted to ask, was there anything that helped you reinvent yourself, or kind of how did you go through that process when you were in New Zealand and you have achieved your dream?
It was a dark moment for me, because it was a novelty when I got there. Everything was new, everything was exciting, and then it was my everyday job, almost from overnight. Excuse me. So I went to professionals, Once I noticed that something was off, something was not working, I searched for help. It was not easy or immediate either, but yeah, ask for help. There's a lot of people out there that know what you're going through. I remember feeling like I was losing control, not knowing what was happening. And I have a good friend that is a psychiatrist. And I was just talking to him as a friend, this is what's happening to me. And then he told me what I was going through with a name. It hadn't, what was happening to me had a name. The moment I realized that, so you know about this? So this happens to more people other than me, and it has a name? Okay, can you fix it? He was like, yeah, it's fixable. I'm like, really? So just knowing that it was fixable, that had a name, and the professionals know about this, and they could help me, already helped. I was like, okay, what do I need to do? Let's do it. So it was a slow process, a bit painful at times, but yeah, search for help. There's help out there, and it's not as big of a deal as it seems when you're in the hole. Yeah, there's light outside. So yeah, just do what you need to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.